Welcome to Chopped Greens. I'm your host, Philip Amine. Sitting alongside the man I revere the most today.
Javier Bardem.
No. It is the one and only you, Gary Boucher.
Oh, stop it.
Gary?
Yes. I can tell by your vibes that you really have a lot to say about this movie.
Gary, we saw the movie Mother.
And?
Those words don't do it justice, Gary. I like Javier Bardem. I like Ed Harris. Michelle Pfeiffer's nice. Who was the main lady?
Come on now.
Who was she?
Come on.
Who was she?
She didn't do it for you?
I just forgot her name. I legitimately...
Jennifer Lawrence?
Jennifer Lawrence. She's nice.
She's more than nice. She's incredible.
Nothing in this film was worth the mission price, time spent, and energy. I hate you probably the most for this movie.
Of any movie we've had to see.
You've dragged me to, even more than Annabelle. At least Annabelle, I kind of knew what I was getting
More
into.
than Annabelle?
It's close. It's darn close. It's pretty darn close.
Oh my God.
Do you know why I hated it more than Annabelle?
Tell me.
I hated it more, not because it offended me, but even as I say that, I'll take it back. It offended me on the absolute ludicrous fact that it confused me for the entire film, and the payoff was a penny on the dollar. I expected $100 and all I got was $1. That's all I got. It was absolutely the worst build-up experience movie of the year, bar Annabelle. But go ahead. Do
you need to take some medicine? Are you okay?
Let's even start. Okay, this entire film, this entire section, this entire podcast is going to be spoiler alerts because honestly, a lot of it I didn't understand.
Are we going to spoiler alert?
Oh yes, because we want to spoil this so that way other people don't have to sit through this bleep.
Okay, before that happens, let me say my piece, man.
Say your piece.
All right, Philip here, the host of this lovely podcast, is wrong about Mother. This is probably the most we've disagreed on a movie for a while. And I'm going to tell you why, because...
And there weren't even any children in
it. There was one child for about 30 seconds. Okay. The problems that he points out are problems for some, and they are strengths for others. For me, they were mostly strengths. The fact that the movie is confusing and jarring as all hell, probably one of the most that I've ever seen, to me is a strength because, as you can see, it's a conversation starter. And any movie that inspires this much conversation on the internet and on podcast and amongst friends, in my book, is worth seeing. There's a lot of ludicrous stuff that goes on, but I personally found value in the things that you did not like.
Such as?
Let's see, the copious amounts of toying with the narrative, the nonsensical, but now sensical if you read metaphors, and the egregious violence, the crazy tone shifts. There's a lot to get into, and I'll hand it back to you in a second, but as I said, this movie it's not anywhere close to a masterpiece. What's funny about this movie is probably the most divisive movie that will come out this year, because there are people who absolutely hated it, and then there's people online who just say it's like the greatest movie they've ever seen. So when that happens, there's a lot to talk about. And it's nowhere close to the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it is one of the most thematically interesting movies I've seen. And so I was happy that I saw it, and I think you should go see it too. Because I want to hear what other people think about it. Besides Phil. And I hand the mic to you.
Yeah.
Do we want to do a little background real quick?
Sure.
All right.
Let's get
directed by Darren Aronofsky, master of what the heck is
Black
going
Swan,
on.
right?
Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream. He directed Noah, The Wrestler. Yeah.
Really, The Wrestler. Mm-hmm. Good.
But
Did he
Requiem,
win for that? Do we know?
Mickey Rourke won for
I
that.
know
He was
Mickey Rourke
nominated, but
No, I don't think Mickey Rourke won that year. It was the co-star, the new Aunt May.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
Darren Aronofsky, known for kind of doing his own thing, for making really physically and emotionally draining and confusing and jarring filmmaking, probably best displayed in Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan, and now in Mother. And Mother is, to not give anything away unless we want to, it's a movie about a couple who lives in a secluded Victorian house in the middle of nowhere.
No, we're giving it out. We're spoiling this film till it's been spoiled to the rotten core of what it is.
Jennifer Lawrence plays a housewife, pretty much. Javier Bardem is a troubled poet who hasn't been able to write anything in years, and he's got writer's block. He kind of treats his wife like crap, and she has fixed up the house herself. The movie starts off in a really confusing way. Javier Bardem is putting a crystal into a stand, and all of a sudden his house comes up, and Jennifer Lawrence wakes up, and she turns on. She's like, "Baby, where are you?" And so we have no backstory really on how they came to be together, or why they're in this house. You're just kind of, this is just kind of thrown at you. Like everything in this movie is just thrown at you, and you're just expected to take it. And one day, this old couple shows up. First, the man who is just known as man, and then the woman who just is known as woman, and all hell starts to break loose with just weirdness happening in their house. So,
This whole thing was supposed to be a metaphor, which, for one, I didn't know that going into it, which I guess in a way I shouldn't be mad about because then it somewhat ruins it, but I prefer those films that have a metaphor within the film, that the film can be taken dually, to where it's a good film by itself, but then it has a hidden meaning, if it so chooses.
that is something that I do agree with you on.
Such as, like, I think, what was the Alien one that was last year, nominated for Best Film, with the big egg spaceship
Arrival.
Arrival. Apparently I never saw it, I didn't get a chance to. But apparently the whole thing was a metaphor as well, but it still stood to by itself as a good film.
That's the thing with Mother, is it doesn't work unless you really want to get into what Aronofsky is trying to say. Narratively, it's just absolutely takes conventional narrative and character and throws it out the window because he replaces it with allegory, and the characters all stand for an idea, so traditional stuff is just kind of gone. And if that is not your thing, then you will absolutely hate the crap out of this movie like Phil does.
I can get behind doing a film that has a bigger meaning than just what it is. That's fine. I can get behind the idea that a film is entirely a metaphor. It's the fact that, for one, I didn't understand that it was supposed to be a metaphor until it was way too late for me to even reclaim back what I'm doing. The only sense of reality that is within this film that even makes any sense is the fact that like three things that actually make sense within this movie I'm clinging to, and he's still messing around with them, such as don't touch the sink because it's not bolstered yet. I'm now concerning this entire film around, hey, stop sitting on the sink, and I'm getting irate over somebody sitting on the sink, when how many times do people actually in real life sit on a sink? It's absurdism for this simple fact that it's absurdism for absurdism's sake, and it just makes absolutely no sense.
But it does. But no, not by itself.
Not by itself. And the fact that I have to go now research and go forward and actually just make a pro-forward movement, and it's not even a natural progression. I had to actually go out and research, so that was the only way upon which this whole thing is understood. Elsewise, I was sitting there at the end of the film not even clearly understanding what just happened. It doesn't automatically click for myself and another huge portion of the audience that does actually go to see this. It was billed incorrectly.
That's what was so interesting, though, is that when I went to see, I saw it with like a group of like 9 or 10 people, and everybody had thought that it was about something else when it was over. And that was just so crazy to hear everybody's theories about what this movie was trying to say.
So then why does that make sense? If you have a point that you're doing it to, you can't just say, you know what, I want to make a film that speaks about conserving the earth while also having a political and religious connotation. And you know what, let's throw a little Trump in there. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to where you would have all these narratives that you want to have a message around, and then all of a sudden somehow loosely tie it together at the end. If you have a point, drive home that point, but they didn't even do that, to where the entire time I'm just confused as to what each, because it was a metaphor within metaphors, and everything was metaphorical because it each differently made no sense. The characters' choices made no sense, thus the acting suffered because of it. We're led to a Jennifer Lawrence whose half of her dialogue is, excuse me, hey, excuse me.
That started to get a little old.
Hey, excuse me. And there's no point to her dialogue. He was so forth ignoring her throughout the entire film that it wasn't even realistic. It wasn't believable, which is some byline of what this whole thing is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a realistic narrative of what's the director's name? Aronofsky.
Aronofsky. Yeah.
Aronofsky's vision of Mother Earth, religion, and how it all relates towards Earth. And it's so absurdism just for the sake of absurdism fact, and it's not even a horror film, which I thought it was originally walking in. So when I go in, there are moments of scary, but it's more a psychological thriller. Mm-hmm. But even then, it's not a good one. It's just stupid. There's so many points. Okay, we're gonna even spoil this because there's so many things that I don't understand what the point of it is, to where it annoys me so much that I was confused at the end, and I'm still thinking 3/4 of the way through, what am I watching? I don't know what I'm watching. It doesn't make sense, and I can't even draw the comparison. Even afterwards, I still don't understand. What was she putting in her drink that she put in the paint?
That is actually, nobody knows what that is. I have no idea what that was. I wanted to know too.
So what time or place are we in? It's just supposed to be some sort of mystical forest that is just in the middle of nowhere with service, but yet it doesn't have service, and yet she can call other people, but yet she doesn't have a signal, but they like it like that without a signal. What? I'm glad let's go on. I like the acknowledgement of the age gap. At first I thought that was a forced choice because I'm taking it as a realistic couple just going on this, and then they acknowledged it. It was weird. Okay. I don't know what she's drinking. There was a random frog. What was the point of the frog?
It's the plague.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious, man.
Are you kidding me?
Because she went and there was the blood on the wall, just like in the Old Testament. She opened it and the frog came out, just like in the Old Testament. Like, I'm dead serious. That's what I think it was. He's giving me a look right now.
That's the stupidest explanation I've ever heard, and just...
That's what, like, 80% of the film is biblical allegory.
Okay. And then what was the point of the publisher?
Okay, do you want me to say, like, what his words were, or what I mean, there was no point in the narrative for that. I think that he put it in there because that whole last 30 minutes of the movie was so psychologically, it was just like a brain beating of your senses. I think that he threw in there Kristen Wiig as a publisher just to make it even more stressfully confusing for the audience, because the audience is supposed to be feeling what Mother is feeling the whole time, and especially in the last half hour of this movie where all this like highly almost inappropriate crazy stuff happens, where she's confused and running around and the camera's shaky and you feel like you're going to throw up and all this stuff's going on. Then Kristen Wiig is walking in shooting people in the back of the head. You're like, what? And I think that was honestly what he was going for that. So I I get where you are coming from, but I honestly think that it works because, as stupidly crazy as it is, I think that the conversation we're having, what we're talking about, is what he wanted to do with the film. He wanted to make people feel like this compassionate one way or another, or passionate one way or another. So, it is a success in my book.
It's not a success when it's not a success when the message is muddied. If you have a movie that's entirely about the message, we look at the movie Titanic. I mean, you can deprive a message from it, but it's more just straightforward. When we look at even freaking kids videos like Cars 3, there's a message in there of like being friends or whatever. I mean, that's not Cars 3's narrative, but I'm just saying there's a underlying message of be friends or be good, or this is what being bad comes to you. There's an understandable, clear thought message, and the rest is just putting around it to help it be an actual story, and you're just working your way through it. Even It last week, there was a story of anti-bullying in there. There's a lot of genres that you can discuss and take away from it, but the message of the story is to be strong and how to be strong and going forward. This message is muddied, it's dirty, it's confusing.
There's also it's 30 of them. There is every character is a message. Every moment is a metaphor.
There's a saying in sports where if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. In this particular thing, if you have 30 messages, you have none. You are destroying the purity and straightforward message of what you originally wanted to convey. If that is in fact so what you wanted to do, I don't know which one it is, but they either sacrificed the trying to parlay a realistic story through the message, or they risked having too many messages. They had an idea to convey all messages, and then they lost it in trying to make it a believable story. I don't know which one it is, but either way, it failed. It absolutely dumbstruck failed. And the fact that I now have to go and watch another one, the only reason why I even went to go research it was because of this podcast. Outside of that, I would have just left and discussed 30 minutes in. Not even 30 minutes in, I was done. I was confused, and I was so confused, and they gave us so little clairvoyance of which to focus and grapple on the reality of something in my mind, trying to say, what am I watching? And there was no payoff to garner my confusion, that whilst being in a confused state, I was angry. I was angry at how confused I was because, again, I'm being forced to bolster my reality into the 3 things I know. That 1, he's abandoning her. 2, the sink is not bolstered. And what the hell is in that paint/drink mix that she's drinking? I don't know any of these, and it's an incredibly stressful environment to put me forth under. It was just awful. I didn't know whether to be scared of him, whether to be scared of her, whether to be scared of anything, or whether I'm just disillusioning if she's like just making all this up in her mind. What's the sense of a heartbeat in there? I don't get it. It was so frustrating, and a clear message, a clairvoyance, or a clear acted story or clear acted dialogue would have even helped. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
You drink some water, man.
I'm telling you, you do not want to. When we get to the voucher bar system, it is going to burn. It is going to burn as much as the first woman did when we first came upon this movie. There was a woman burning, and I thought that was going to mean something. No, it just meant nothing at all. And then all of a sudden, I don't even understand the ending. As far as like the absolute ending, why was there a different girl who woke up? I'm sincerely asking.
Okay, I think that happened. Okay, so we haven't really gone into what like a lot of the metaphor is, but I think that happened because it was him starting over his creation, the metaphor of God starting the creation over again.
The fire in the entire house symbolized what? Like nuclear war? Like
the apocalypse, nuclear war, humans basically destroying our own environment, and then God creating it again because he can't help but do it, but this time he's going to try to do it differently, so there's a slightly different girl there.
It was so incredibly muddied and served no purpose that it hurt my sensibilities to a point where I want them back. I want that time back, and I actually, on another note, just speaking from a filmography standpoint, I want the volume to be lowered because I was getting a headache by how obnoxiously loud it was. So, just on every sense of the word, this movie failed in conveying the message. It failed in creating a believable message. It failed in acting in many aspects, and it failed on storytelling, which is what a movie is. It failed in successfully telling your story. And it was absurd just for the simple fact that it was absurd.
Is that your closing statement?
That is my closing statement.
All right, I'm gonna throw one out there.
Yeah.
After I saw this movie, I saw it like 4 or 5 days ago. I thought about it for like a solid few hours after, and then I kept on thinking about it throughout the day for the next 2 days. And I was just digging through it, and I
thought about it too while I was on the crapper. Because that's what I associated
I was confused and curious. I don't think I was as angry as you were, but I do somewhat agree with you, and I think that its weakness is also its strength, but it is a weakness because the film is never going to be considered great because there's no central idea or compelling narrative to follow. There's just a lot of Aronofsky saying, this is how I feel about what's going on in our world right now, so this represents this. By the way, I feel like this about this. It's all really compelling issues, but there's just so much going on that it does become too much at a point, and you kind of get lost in that. But like I said, that being said, it's still I think technically it's also an amazing feat of psychologically like jarring filmmaking, making you feel the emotions that you are supposed to feel with the use of sound and camera and atmosphere. Like in that, especially in that 30-minute scene, that was like one of the most physically draining things I've ever had to sit through and watch, probably with Detroit this year. And then the climax of Mother. It was just crazy, and it was just bonkers. And I guess I was more curious than angry, and I'm actually, now that I have read more into what he was trying to say, I'm a little bit even more satisfied. The reason why I don't want to talk about it too much is because if anyone's going to see the movie, I wouldn't want them to see it with that knowledge.
I wouldn't want them to see it either.
with that knowledge, but I think you should see it.
I would not want them to see it either.
I might even go back and see it with the knowledge that I have to try to get something even more out of it. And like I said, the most divisive movie you're going to see in a long time, you're either going to be very moved and curious, or you're going to absolutely hate it. I actually convinced my mom to go see this movie, which is really hard because she thought it was a horror movie, and she did not like it at all.
Good.
So there you go.
God bless you, Miss Boucher.
There is, if you are willing to invest in that, there's a lot of good stuff. Personally, and I actually thought the acting was fantastic. I thought maybe for a little bit the chemistry between the two lead actors was weird, but then I think that it was also supposed to be weird and forced because their relationship is crumbling, and I thought that was fine. Yeah.
Well, that's really all I can say outside of now we'll get to our voucher bars. Would you care to go first since you'll be far more forgiving than I will?
I'm going to give it a 74 out of 100.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It is because of all this stuff I just said. Never going to be great, but there's so much to talk about, and I think Aronofsky succeeded in what he was trying to do, so I'm going to give it a 74. It also gets a little long. First two acts kind of drag on for a little bit. I will say that. But you, sir?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 24. Great visuals as far as a lot of the camera work, and but even then, sometimes there were missed words that I felt like he was saying things and they didn't match up to what he was saying. I'm trying to find another good thing to say about it.
You got to fill up a bucket of popcorn.
Yeah,
at the movies.
The hot dollar dog was rather nice. Ed Harris was probably my favorite part of this movie. Maybe Javier Bardem, maybe. So I'm at 24.
That is not as bad as the rating that I gave to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, what'd you give that? 21?
I gave it like a 16.
Both Javier Bardem movies.
True.
The two sides of Javier Bardem. All right. Oh, I have all that venom and hate in my heart. I just need to now go to the lightheartedness of...
Now we need to go to a Gimme 5.
Gimme 5, right after this break. Are you bracing yourself? Because as angry as I was for Mother, there's no way you're going to get all 5 this week in Uber Facts.
Are you sure?
I guarantee.
I went from 3 out of 5 to 5 out of 5. Now you know what? I might as well get 6 out of 5.
Might as well get 6 out of 5. I'll create another one for you on the fly, should it happen. Alright, here we go. Speaking of 5, Give Me 5 is right now. This is the part of the show where I've got 5 questions for you, Gary. You've got 5 questions for me. We don't know what they are.
But
Parmesan
you will.
says we'll answer them. Honestly, you went first last week, right?
No. You went first last week because I went first in the Bachelor Bars. You know what?
I'm pretty sure you went first last week.
Did I?
Yeah, because you ended first and then I asked. What did I ask? I think I still have it. What is the amount of money you would forgive on a loan?
And I asked you before that, what was your favorite page to screen adaptation?
Before that. Yeah, that was the first one. So you start the round.
Okay, go.
All right. There's all this science right before to say that I am going first. All right. First reported by US Weekly, what am I doing? Oh, the OC star and her longtime beau are breaking up after 9 years together, and this is, of course, Hayden Christensen and Rachel Bilson. They have a 2-year-old daughter, Briar Rose, and live separately in Toronto and Los Angeles. So that happened today. That's pretty much the big news of today. Who
Pretty much.
is the most shocking celebrity couple you've ever seen break up?
Chris Pratt and Anna Faris.
Wow, it's still hitting you?
Yeah, man, because they were
Probably because you thought Anna Faris was locked into that horrible marriage for years
They were
because of Chris Pratt.
they were just goals, man.
Yeah, sure.
And I still hate Chris Pratt, but
I
you know.
do, but hey, you got to give it to him. All right, your turn.
Okay. I'm gonna give you 3 separate numbers that each of which are slightly different.
Okay.
And this is Jennifer Lawrence's average salary per movie that she has made throughout her entire career.
Okay.
Okay? One of them is correct, and then the 2 I obviously switched the numbers up.
Okay.
So number 1 is $5,257,923.
Okay.
Number 2, you ready?
Yep.
$2,557,923.
Okay.
Number 3, $7,255,923. So basically you have 5.2 million, 2.5 million, or 7.2 million.
I'm gonna go. Ooh. See, the problem is that she hasn't been in a lot of movies that I can remember, but because I know there's that whole stickler about her not being paid as much as her male counterparts. But she does have a lot of big box office hits, and especially with the average of Mockingjay and Hunger Games series, I'm gonna go with 7 million.
A little bit overestimating, 5 million. I'm assuming it's gonna go up because her first movie ever, she made $3,000.
Yeah,
which brought it down. But then for Hunger Games,
that's the problem.
She made so much money.
She has such a low volume of movies, albeit they've all been pretty good. She was an unknown quantity until after the Hunger Games. All right. Speaking of Jennifer Lawrence, not even Jennifer Lawrence could win over CinemaScore audiences with Mother. Because I got a little Mother fast Give 5 here. Her new What the Film with director and current boyfriend,
Darren Aronofsky.
I didn't know they were dating.
Yes. And a
Oh.
lot of people think that the film was his commentary on that as well. So that's another element.
Darren Aronofsky earned a dreaded F from the movie polling company after Friday night's screenings. Mother had a positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes. 69% of critics gave the film a positive review, but audiences revolted against Aronofsky's film, God Bless Him, which mixes broad religious allegory with home invasion horror and ends with a sequence of shocking R-rated violence. Gary, I want you to guess which of these other films are the 7 other F-grading brethren of Mother. I've got 10 here, so only 3 of them don't belong on this F grade list.
Okay.
Are you ready? They're all pretty bad.
So I'm guessing all the films that have an F on CinemaScore.
Yes.
Audience. Okay.
Yes, from the audience's point of view. First one, Adventures of Pluto Nash. The next one, The Box. It's with Cameron Diaz and somebody else. Forget his name. Next one, Bug. Next one, Dr. T and the Women.
And the Women?
And the Women. Dr. T and the Women. It's the movie. Dr. T and the Women. Next one, I Know Who Killed Me.
I haven't heard of any of these.
Really? You haven't heard of it? A couple of these? Okay.
Yeah.
I Know Who Killed Me. Killing Them Softly. Talking about killing.
Whoa, I have heard of that. That got an F?
I'm saying that it's possible.
Oh.
7 of these are
Yeah,
F-rated.
okay, I got you. Yeah.
Next one, The Master of Disguise. Next one, Pixels. Next one, Solaris. And next one, Wolf Creek.
Was that Solaris or Sir Loris?
No, Solaris.
Okay.
With George Clooney.
And the last one again?
Wolf Creek.
So I think it's just going to be easier if I tell you the 3 that I don't think are on there.
Yeah, the 3 that don't belong on there. Again, that's Adventures of Pluto Nash, The Box,
I
Bug,
think you
Dr.
threw them in there 3 in a row. Killing Them Softly, Master of Disguise, and Pixels.
You think that those are the 3 fake ones. So give them to me one at a time and you'll get 3 strikes.
Killing Them Softly.
Now you're saying that's a fake one.
Correct.
That is not a fake one. That actually did get an F score.
What? Okay, I'm still going to say Pixels is a fake one, because I bet you there's some Adam Sandler fans who like Pixels.
Yep, it is a fake one. That was not as bad as the audience thought it to be. Don't agree with them on that one.
Killing Them Softly. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Master of Disguise.
That is a fake one.
So
and again, I was doing all this alphabetically, to be honest with you, so that way...
Oh.
So just so you know, I didn't put them in a certain order.
Let's say Dr. T and the Women is a fake one.
That is not. You're now 2 and 2. That was a real one. So Dr. T is a real one. Killing Them Softly is a real one. You've got one more in the bunch of.
The first one, The Adventures of Pluto and Nash.
That's phenomenal. You did get it. That's Eddie Murphy one, highly regarded as one of the worst movies of all time, but didn't make this list. So that means The Box, Bug, Dr. T and the Women, I Know Who Killed Me, Solaris, and Wolf Creek all earned an F, as well as Mother. God bless them. All right, back to you.
All right. So Sean Spicer, the former White House press secretary turned media personality, just turned out an invitation to be on Dancing with the Stars.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw him on the Emmys the other night.
Yes, I did.
With the rolling podium, fantastic little sequence, humbling himself. He has been trying to obtain a contributor role at the Big Five news networks, Fox, NBC, CNN, ABC, and I forget the other one. They have all said, no, we don't want you on our news. Fox and NBC, conservative, liberal, nobody wants it. So, after a cameo at the Emmys and an invitation to Dancing with the Stars, what is going to come next for Sean? Is he going to get a job at doing prestigious journalism, or do you think he's going to go into more of the entertainment route?
That's an interesting one, because where he was the mouthpiece for Trump and that administration. I wonder if time won't heal his wounds on this one. I do believe that at some point it'll be interesting to see what the Republicans do in review of Trump whenever this administration is over, whenever that may be. I don't know. Whether it come next election or the election following, but it'll be interesting to see whether they stick with their identity to the Trump administration or whether they revolt and go back to more conservative, straight up politics.
Traditional conservatives,
yes. If they don't, if they stick alongside Trump and sort of engross his mentality, then I think that he will get back into regular politics. If they stride away, we'll see. I don't think Sean Spicer can do much more than just than be what he has been.
Yeah.
So I think he might be jobless for a little while. I can't imagine that he won't find some sort of political form. I mean, it's hard. I feel like that's the last that we'll see of him publicly for a while.
Yeah.
So, Drake, the artist and rapper and what else you want to say, his tattoos are something like a Hall of Fame, paying tribute to some of his favorite people. He has two tattoos of Sade, one of Lil Wayne, and another of his father. His new tattoos pay tribute to his late friend Fief, and finally, the one that he got most recently, Denzel Washington's character Bleak in Mo Better Blues. Gary, if you had to put a tattoo of another actual person, that has to be an actual person, so maybe Sean Spicer, on your their face on your body, Who would it be and why? Because I know you have a Star-Lord tattoo over there, but it's not.
But it's not Chris Pratt.
It's purely Star-Lord. Has to be their face.
So like not a character, another human. Right. I have to put on my body.
I suppose if you wanted to, it could be a human portraying a character, so maybe something you could cheat of, like Heath Ledger Joker, maybe something like that. But it has to be their face.
So I am planning an Edgar Wright tribute tattoo with everybody sitting in the car with Baby from Baby Driver. So Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Baby sitting in a car together. I don't know if that counts. I would honestly probably maybe like an angry Bernie Sanders or something, like screaming like on my butt cheek or something. I don't know.
That's funny.
Like imagine seeing that, you know.
I really don't have to, but thank you for the offer. I won't let Maddie know. All right, your turn.
My next one is a quick one, but it's an interesting one. I have 3 very different news headlines from this week. One of which I made up, but is a plausible news headline. The other 2 which are real weird news headline.
Okay.
Just guess which one is a news headline that I made up.
Okay.
Number 1, a doctor in Iowa went into labor at the same time while delivering another patient's baby.
Okay.
Number 2, a group of high school students used a local IKEA for their homecoming photos and went viral.
Okay.
Number 3, a former Trump security advisor who was fired within 2 months of the administration is suing the federal government for $800 million in damages.
Let's go with the IKEA one.
Think that was the fake one?
Yeah.
That one is actually real. And the photos are fantastic. You should check them out.
All right.
The fake one is the Trump security advisor.
Oh, okay.
That's like so plausible though. Like,
well, what is the reason why for me it was plausible is that not necessarily anything to do with Trump, but a lot of these lawsuits they over exacerbate whatever the amount is because they know it'll get cut in half.
Exactly.
Around what you actually want. So.
Yep.
But yeah, police, Gary, are hunting for a woman who has been dubbed the Mad Pooper by residents of a Colorado Springs neighborhood who have seen the woman regularly defecating outside their houses. Police have opened a case against the unidentified pooper. I can't say it. Pooper trader after receiving multiple complaints from residents of the Pine Creek neighborhood.
That's great.
Lieutenant Howard Black, a spokesperson for the Colorado Springs Police Department, told BuzzFeed News. Black said that police have received several pictures of the suspect and are still trying to identify her. Gary, what is the weirdest crime you would ever be charged with, and is this worth all the hubbub, or should they let shit go?
That is definitely worth all the hubbub because I would hate that. What's the weirdest crime I would be charged
streaking,
for?
Like at a baseball game, like would you be that guy who like runs across the field while being naked?
I think I would be the guy who would get drunk at a concert of Weezer, my favorite band, and climb up on the stage and be like, "Hey guys, I love your music." Like, I would be the guy who was trespassing because there was a famous person there and I wanted to really talk to them really bad.
While singing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nudity may or may not have been involved.
Okay.
Depending on the type of alcohol. Yes.
All right, your turn, sir.
All right. So, an interesting study, a real scientific study, that actually says a lot. Was just published on duck penises. Scientists have discovered through years of study that ducks who are often around other groups of males, because of all the competition, will grow abnormally large genitalia to the point where it is longer than their own body. And ducks that are around less competition or ducks that are alone will grow little nubs. So Phil, if you were a duck, would you be the duck that was around more competition, or would you be the duck that was not really around competition?
All right. I
mean, I don't know if what you're gonna say is true, so you might as well just say whatever you want.
Right. In that case, I'm going to have to say I was born in competition, but I moved to where there was no competition. So essentially, yes,
I see what you're saying.
playing it on both sides of the cheerleading spectrum. So I'm a smart duck. With
You are.
all the ducky tools to duck on. All right. There is a rare fragment that depicts a shofar, which is, of course, played during the High Holy Days. But that has nothing to do with the fact that it is absolutely uber fast.
I knew you were gonna do that because I was like, what you're saying right now makes literally no sense.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I was just trying to go on Twitter for some sort of story, and that was the last one that I could find. All right, but of course, uber facts, the part of the show where I've got 5 sets of facts for you. You've got to figure out within each of these facts. I'm going to give you 3. One of them is fake. Find out which one's the fake fact. Hashtag fake news.
You think I can go 5 for 5 again?
There's no way. I'm guaranteeing it. You are going to fail miserably on this one. You're going to go back to your Boucher ways.
Like 2 for 5 is what you're saying. So even if I get 4 for at best, all right. Well, shoot, I'll take you up on that.
All right, here we go. Fact number 1: 2,520 is the smallest number that can be exactly divided by all the numbers 1 to 10. Fact number 2, sitting for 6 or more hours per day makes you 40% more likely to die within 15 years than someone who sits for less than 3 hours a day. And fact number 3, bending the ear backwards can be a mental therapeutic activity that can help aid in depression and hunger. Which one is the fake fact?
The first one.
The number, the 2,500?
No, the last one. The last one. That's the fake one.
As he bends his ear backwards.
As I bend my ear. Because it's not working and I'm really hungry and depressed. So.
So you're going to go with the bending the ear?
Yes.
That is fake. Congratulations to you.
1 for 1, sir.
I knew you were going to do one of these. I just didn't know which one it would be.
So that's my gimme right there?
That's your gimme. Because I thought that you would either try to divide 2,520.
I was going to go on my phone and do it, but I thought, no, you know what? I'll just go with that.
Okay. Next one. Snap peas can cure the common cold within species of Amazonian frogs. Fact number 2. When looking at a crowd, we can only recognize 2 faces at a time. And fact number 3. There is a diamond floating in our galaxy that is bigger than Earth. Which one is the fake fact?
Number 1.
The snap peas?
Yes.
That absolutely is false.
2.
2 no.
Because you know what? I've heard it all when it comes to animals about you, man. The pandas, the farting iguanas. As soon as an Amazonian animal comes up, I just have a feeling.
You have a feeling. All right. Let me see. Yeah, there's no animals in this next one, so no gimmies. All right. Fact number 1. If a potato is exposed to light while growing, it will turn green and become poisonous. Fact number 2, deprivation of sun rays to the head, such as in the case of wearing hats too often, has been shown to male pattern baldness. Fact number 3, Californians are the most likely to brag on social media, according to a study based on U.S. states.
What was the second one again?
Second one, deprivation of sun rays to the head.
What was the first one? Sorry, I just didn't hear.
If a potato is exposed to light while growing, it will turn green and become poisonous.
That one.
That's the fake one.
Yes.
That's the false one.
That's the false one.
That's the fake one.
That is the incorrect Phil fact.
Dang. You ran your and at perfection with that one.
No.
Oh my no.
What was it?
The deprivation of sun rays to the head.
You know, I thought I was wearing a hat and I was like, you know what? What if that's true?
What if that's true?
What if I'm balding?
It's one of those, what are those? Those myths, common myths.
Yeah, it sounds like an old wives' tale. Oh, don't go outside with a hat on, Gary. You'll be bald when you're older.
There you go. I love how your mom's not Jewish one bit, and that she was a Jewish in there. All right, next one. 3 teens in Texas. Sounds like the beginning of a poem. 3 teens in Texas once dug up the grave of a child and took the skull to use as a marijuana bong.
No. Please let that be fake.
Fact number 2. Those who drink 32 ounces of water per day have more sex than those who drink less. And you have a hydroflask.
I've got a 40 ouncer here.
And fact number 3, if you have the right kind of yeast in your stomach, you can become drunk just from eating carbohydrates. Which one's the fake fact?
Number 1, because I really hope it's not true.
That's the fake one.
That is the incorrect one. That's the Phil fact.
Alright. You got that one wrong. I completely made those who drink up 32 ounces of water per day. I don't know if
It's
false.
probably 40 or more, which is okay because this is 40 right here.
Oh, okay.
That's the cutoff.
Good to know. Yeah, good to know where those studies end. Last one. So you're now 2 and 2. Try and get above 500. Just do that for me.
Let's do it.
But what did I say again before this? At best,
You said at best too, so I'm gonna prove you wrong right here.
Those who regularly eat at buffets at least once a month live on average 12 years less than those who do not. Fact number 2, men who had good relationships with their mothers as children end up making $87,000 more per year than men with mothers who were uncaring. Fact number 3, T-Rex arms are estimated to have been able to lift over 400 pounds each.
Number 2.
Is the fake one.
Yes.
And at best, you're going 2 and 3. A premonition that lives on to right now. I made up those who regularly eat at buffets. That's the fake one.
87,000. That's such a big difference.
That is.
No.
Way to go, Shelly. Helping out Gary every dollar.
Yeah, I make like $10, and I love my mom.
Now your turn. Last one for you.
All right.
Last one for me.
I have a list here. Oh, so that one was
my last one.
This I have compiled a list. This isn't like a quiz or anything. This is purely for fun because I want to hear what you think.
Funsies.
This is headlines that major news sources have compiled about millennials, blaming them for ruining something. Mine and your generation. And my question for you is going to be, which one of these is legit to you, which one of these is BS, and which one of these would you want to ruin as a millennial?
Okay.
I've got quite a few here. I'm just going to sound them off. Millennials are killing the napkin industry. Why aren't millennials buying diamonds? Blame millennials for the vanishing bar of soap. Millennials are killing the golf industry. How millennials almost killed the wine cork. How millennials killed the focus group. Millennials are killing retailers. How millennials ended the running boom. Did millennials kill the Hangout sitcom? Millennials say the American dream is dead. They killed it. Why are millennials killing their bosses? How millennials could bring the oil industry to its knees. Hey millennials, stop killing the modern vacation. Millennials are killing the movie business. Demotivated millennials are killing call center productivity. How millennials' lack of manners is killing class. Millennials are killing lunch. Are lazy millennials killing the cereal industry?
Is that it?
Yep, that's a short list of things we have killed.
Yes. Let's go speed round through them just one at a time. I'll give you my thought.
Killing the napkin industry.
That should be... That one I don't want us to kill.
Diamonds.
Should die.
Soap.
Should die.
Golf industry.
Should die.
The cork. The wine cork.
Don't care.
The focus group.
Don't care.
Retailers.
Don't care.
The running boom.
Don't believe it.
The Hangout sitcom.
Should die.
The American dream.
Don't believe it.
Their bosses. Kill them. Kill your bosses.
I actually believe it. Let's go.
The oil industry.
Should die.
Let's see. Where was that?
Unless if it's canola oil.
Vacations.
Don't believe it.
The movie business.
No, don't believe it.
Call center productivity.
Should die.
Class and manners.
Don't believe it.
Lunch.
Don't believe it.
The cereal industry.
I definitely don't believe it.
And there you go.
All right.
There's Phil's take on what millennials have not, and should ruin.
Fantastic. So what movie are we seeing next week?
This is a movie that I think we're both very optimistic and excited for. Good old action movie. Sequel to a pretty well-received and culturally loved movie from a few years ago. Kingsman, The Secret Service.
The Secret
Bringing
Service.
The Secret Service, bringing them over to America.
You know, they do bring it over to America. We'll see how it goes. I really liked the first one, as far-fetched as it was. Didn't take itself too seriously. Not good reviews, but we'll see. So we have that to look forward to, and as always, for
Gary Bowser.
I'm Philip Emery, and that's been
Parmesan.
Parmesan the dog.
Parmesan.
Parmesanimo. And of course, thank you so much for listening to Chopped Greens. As always, you can listen to all of our archived episodes on YouTube, as well as our new episodes. Thank you so much for listening, and
Bye.